Hey everybody, it's the last RoboKai here. It's time for the second DLC of Nioh. I'm joined by Cool Guy.
DLC.
And we're heading off to the Siege of Osaka. Winter.
関ヶ原で石田三成が重心を失ってからというもの。豊臣家の実権は豊臣秀頼殿の母淀君が握っておる。家康様と対立した淀君は豊臣家に恩子ある大名や浪人を集め豊臣家存亡をかけた戦を起こした。ウィリアム、お主が予見しておった大戦が起こったのだ。伊達政宗殿率いる軍と共に大阪へ参ろう。我ら徳川勢は数で勝るが難攻不落の大阪城へ攻め込むには出城の真田丸を落とさねばならぬ。真田幸村、厄介な男よ。
Defiant Honor.
There is so much to unpack for this scenario, but we've still got more cutscenes coming. Needless to say, this is probably one of my favorite levels out of all the DLCs that they brought out, and we'll be very quickly
Maria's
seeing
back.
why. Oh yeah, Maria. You know, we saw at the end of the last cutscene with her. She's tooted off here to cause some trouble. It's like. And by the way, you look at that screenshot and you're like, oh man, that looks like a hell war. No, that's exactly what the level's going to be like.
Fantastic.
I hope you're ready to get fucked.
At least you can't blame them for false advertising.
Maria 殿、重ねてお断り申し上げる。霊石を使った戦には義などあり申さん。
敵の疲弊を待って交渉に持ち込むつもり？それまで持つかしら。
自らの義を貫く、それが侍というものでござる。
死にたがりの侍には話が通じないみたい。あなたはどうなのかしら。
伊達の強さ、この戦で知らしめよ。重長が
Here we go. The first siege of Osaka. And like I said, there's a lot to unpack for this particular episode. There's the stage itself. There's the events that led up to the siege of Osaka, the characters that are involved in it, and of course, the biggest character of them all, Sanada Yukimura, and his personal history. So we might as well just start off with the level. This level is based on the Sanada Maru, and the Sanada Maru was essentially Sanada Yukimura's attempt to shore up the defenses of Osaka Castle. because it was surrounded by like moats on both sides. There was like rivers, and I think the ocean even as well with its location. So it was pretty hard to assail. It had one side that was approachable from a field, and so seeing that was the point where the Tokugawa forces were likely going to come. He erected a very large fort with 7,000 men and held back a force many, much more times his own size. He might have already noticed the gimmick for this level.
Yup!
Every
Pay
time that gong
attention,
goes
buddy.
off, you clench. It is scary as fuck. The trenches and those little barricades are like the safest place. Also, throughout the level, occasionally just little shots of arrows and like gunfire will intentionally whiz past your ear. You're never in danger from those ones, but you will still flinch. Thankfully, we're not completely at the mercy of these sort of firing shots. We've just received some cannonballs. There are 3 cannons placed in the level that deal with each of the 3 stages of Sanada Maru and its amazing arrow fire. And
You must know how to operate them. You're white, you know how this works. Well, yes, but that's still racist.
yeah, still, you're not wrong, but fuck you anyway, boy. your dad would be so embarrassed. And our primary opponent that we will be facing, we're the red of the Sanada clan, though I don't think a huge amount of the Sanada clan themselves were a part of the sieges of Osaka. It was mostly just those who were loyal to Yukimura. Now, this was
Booyah,
the
boy!
single most badass moment of my life. The arrow fire killed the rest of them.
Frickin' sit down when Wuxia films.
Right, so the Siege of Osaka is the last great battle of the Sengoku Era. They even changed the name of the era, because we recently went from the Heisei to the Reiwa era. Well, they had a similar thing happen when the second Siege of Osaka finally ended. They changed the era, and now that we've done that, the field out in front of there is open and we can pick it clean of stuff, which is nice. And it came about because, well, obviously after Sekigahara, Ieyasu Tokugawa consolidated a lot of his power. He became the shogun by all accounts. There was still the emperor, but he was basically the puppet boy. And the only force that really rivaled him at this point in power and overall hostility towards him was the Toyotomi clan. He had been the caretaker of, along with like 4 other lords. And Ieyasu basically usurped all of them. There's so many dead bodies out here in this fucking level. Just like smoking flame
there's a
arrows.
lot of gravitas around here. There's a lot of big death energy. It's BDE, just not the BDE you think.
And of course, we'll be finding a lot of fire oni bees and skeletons around here, as befitting of a place that's absolutely overflowing with death.
And flaming arrows.
Yeah, this place does not mess around. And essentially what happened was that, Hideyoshi had a son, and they'd managed to convince a lot of people, including Ieyasu, that the young boy was a fool. He was, he was no threat to anybody. He was a simple lad, unconcerned with the world outside, because one of the things that basically they had to do was he had to stay in the castle in Osaka. And then a few sequence of events occurred. The first is that Ieyasu actually met his son. And it turned out he was like Hideyoshi's son, and it turned out he was actually a lot brighter and a lot cleverer than he actually seemed and had been led to believe. And this kind of made him worry. The second was that we've talked about her, Lady Odagimi. Oh, sorry, the game talked about her. She was agitating for her son to become, back where the family should be, and she had been seeing to it that the castle had been upgraded. So Osaka Castle had been very well upgraded at this point, and in preparation for combat. And also, she had been summoning Ronin to the area. I'm getting very good at just pulling the antidote out from the
I'm
menu.
sorry, it's just like quietly giggling and you menuing to clean the barf off of you while you give everybody a history lesson. It's just the juxtaposition just slays me. Please continue.
Shortcut. Yeah, and so they called a lot of Ronin in, and a lot of different allies, of people, primarily people who just fucking hated the Tokugawa got involved. The Chosakabe got involved. Sanada Yukimura got involved. Remnants of the Oda got involved, and they just decided for the first part, because Tokugawa Ieyasu got like nearly 200,000 troops involved in this fight on his end to try and deal with them, and they were like, well, we've got essentially the hardest to siege castle in the entire kingdom. We can wait them out, so let's do that. And that's when Sanada Yukimura went, well, that's a good idea, but here, let me do you one better, and set up the Sanada Maru, and it was it was actually really successful. They absolutely could not get into the castle. Yeah, it's all right, dude. You stay here. I'll manage this. Mostly,
I can't
I'll
move.
manage
Yeah,
this.
it's fine. Fine. Just stay down, buddy. You took an arrow to the knee. You're never gonna be an adventurer.
It's a pretty scary thing. This many arrows hurtling towards you
Oh
every
fuck
time.
yeah!
God, they hurt
Jesus.
like fuck too. It's great. And this is when they start getting mean and they start putting bomb dwellers and spawning yokai and everything around. The Twilight version of this mission is absolutely terrifying. You'll often have Boku summoning revenants, and there are a lot of revenants.
Of course,
We ain't even gonna wait for this. Let's just chew our way in. As you can see, I still took a lot of damage from that.
You burned living weapon, like basically hit your I win button, and that still got a little hairy.
Yeah. Namahage are kind of terrifying to fight here, because you got to be mobile to move around them. Also,
Yep, little bit.
yeah, you thought you were safe. Yeah, well, he's a throwing bombs. This guy.
Fuck that guy.
It's a beautiful sense of escalation to this level. Each of these 3 sections is pretty intimidating, and you might have already noticed what makes the 3rd section fairly intimidating from when we received the cannonballs. Mm-hmm. We only got 2 of them.
Yeah, I did happen to notice that you were talking about a 3rd section. I was rather hoping that we would find another like big iron testicle.
Well, we'll see, won't we?
We will indeed see.
There's
Now,
there's one other wrinkle after that too. But yeah, go on.
From a mechanical perspective, I really appreciate this simply because it is the most direct attack that the game has ever perpetrated on your mobility directly. And obviously, mobility is giant in this game. We talked about, like, even way back in the first couple of episodes. We both tend to prefer light to medium armor because we hate not being mobile. And, like, it is slowly turning up the heat here to give you threats to deal with while your mobility is worse than hamstrung, more like gut shot. Like, I really appreciate the way that they're turning up the heat from a mechanical perspective with that, and then psychologically, the way that they're inflicting that is also just masterfully thought through.
Yeah, a lot of people are probably already screaming like, "Why did you jump down? You could have just gone straight to the cannon from that area." I'm showing this route the hard way.
I have questions on how that dude's head came off.
Look, we've been through this many times before. Just sometimes you do a cut so good it defies all laws of physics.
I have freaking questions, but okay.
So we've managed to get through a few of the interesting things. I'd say we've talked about what got us here. Oh no, we didn't. We haven't actually talked about. We've talked about one of the reasons why things escalated. There is still a second one. There's still an amazing second reason. This is actually moving on to the 3rd area. You can actually straight up avoid the rest of it. I'll be going back for it. I'm just going to realize very quickly I've gone too far and go back. Yeah. So it is still a little maze-like. Because, hey, trenches. What a surprise.
Yeah, trenches. Weird, right? They might end up resembling mazes. Like little things in the dirt you can't really see over very well because that's the point.
Yeah, so one of the other big reason, like, aside from the building up of the Ronin, aside from, like, the fact that Hideyoshi-san wasn't nearly as dumb as everyone thought he was, there was one last thing that sort of really just sort of made Ieyasu go, okay, these guys are coming for that booty. And that guy just climbed down the ladder and back up again. I was like, where did he go for so long? And the big thing is that they had, as part of the restoration of Osaka Castle, you know, the shoring up the defenses and things like that, they had restored a temple there, and they put in a bell, and the bell had an inscription on it, and the bell its inscription itself was two messages that, for the most part, would seem fairly benign. They, you know, they asked for a world of peace and, you know, and things like that. The thing was, and this is one of these things you have to understand about the Japanese written word is that the way they were written could also be construed into break Ieyasu, destroy the Tokugawa clan.
Yeah.
So that's one of those things about that's one of the things about Japanese writing, is that if you write, you can write it in a few ways, and certain ways to write it can also resemble other words, and that has very important meaning. There's actually an anime that I think that has a really good sort of take on that as a joke, and it's called Zetsubo. Well, I'll just call it its English name because I always forget its name. But it's basically Sayonara, Mr. Despair. It's about a character who he's a teacher, and he's always thinking of killing himself. But the worst part about him is one of the ways to write his name basically just becomes despair. And so he's a very melodramatic, unlucky person. And one of his brothers is a doctor, and when you write his name a certain way, it says death.
Oh, good!
So it's just like
Dr. Death
family.
and Mr. Despair. What a cheery fucking couple.
Yeah, so that's I fucking love.
And for the etymological breakdown of that real quick, people are basically being like, well, how can that be? So Japanese is a syllabatic language, and if you string syllables together in specific ways, then you know they can sound very similar. English has the same concept with homophones, wherein two words sound the same. Well, when you don't have a concept of like silent letters and everything like that, that same problem starts infesting your written word as well, which is precisely why kanji exists, and all of those borrowed characters from Chinese. What all of those things represent ideas, and it clarifies, to a certain extent anyway, what they are looking for. Here's the thing: a lot of kanji also have multiple meanings. Consider depending on the context they're used in, because Chinese is a tonal language. So when you're just like, well, how can they possibly mean two totally separate things? Well, because during the evolution of the language, these same ideas were used in very different contexts, and when the language was later unified, they also had to unify these dueling contexts, which basically just became a matter of how are you using it, where is it in the sentence, and blah blah blah. And the reconciliation is imperfect, exactly like the way in English. All sorts of pronunciations are imperfect. We have literally hundreds of irregular verbs that follow absolutely no laws of grammar, because the reconciliation of all of the various branches of English and all of the influences of English isn't perfect. I'm done. You keep going. It's your nerds thing for the day. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
I think the best way to put it is that both the Toyotomi and Tokugawa were convinced that the other was out to get them, and they were right.
They were both right.
They were both right, because there was no way that Ieyasu would allow them to continue to exist as such a sort of powerful legacy group, and at the same time, there's no way that the Toyotomi would ever just sit back and like pine for the glory days. They would try and take it while things were still fresh. And this is what it led to, the first siege. And the first siege was a clusterfuck. Now, I could have gone up a ladder at the end of that trench, and it would have taken me right to the last cannonball, and also like a short degree to the next one. But like I said, I'm doing this the hard way, so we're gonna go
Course you
from
are.
the back and work our way
Frickin'
in.
guy.
And it's gonna cost me, but I want you guys to see there's the twist. There's the last wrinkle.
Good. They've got cannon too.
They've got a cannon, and guess what the cannon does to those palisades?
Ugh, fan-fucking-tastic. And I'm certain that it's going to target the one that you're hiding behind at the time.
It targets you the way you were at the time of when it fires, so you kind of have to, if you don't want it to get destroyed, hang out a bit, wait a moment for when the gong is fired, and then move.
Oh man. Like so. Lord alive.
It's not
You
easy.
might lose that one. Okay, not so much. Oh!
Yep.
Oh! Oh! Oh!
Been a while since
rough.
we've had a death. As you see, that's the palisade exploding. Okay, let's try that again.
Let's try that again, indeed.
Get my dog back.
Get doggos!
Give back my dog!
Doggos are good doggos.
God.
Whoa, whoa,
Thankfully
whoa,
the palisades
whoa,
are segmented.
whoa!
Oh yeah,
Move,
this is
move, buddy, move! Oof!
I did actually die then. And here's where the problem is. Now I'm in a death loop.
Log!
I'm
Ow,
in a
ow,
death
ow,
loop.
ow, ow.
Yeah. And then I'm like, okay, I gotta go. Oh no, that's a corner.
No, 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 no!
He's still
Is he
alive.
down? No, he's not
No, he's
down.
still going. He's walking off on fire. Alright, one last
God,
time.
that dude's like the Energizer frickin' bunny. At least it gives you the Palisades back when you die.
Yeah, the palisades refresh when you visit a shrine or die, so it's all good.
Thank God for that.
Alright, come on, we gotta do this.
Oh man.
This is a good way to get really good at fighting the number game.
No crap. You've got to know these cats inside and out to survive this fight. Here they come!
Trench.
P.S. You know, like I'm not messing with you when I'm just like this freaking guy for doing it all the hard way. Like I mean, every like our regular viewers will definitely remember that I am the dickhead who decided he was going to go very hard, clean hands on Dishonored, both of them. You know, like I have no room to talk.
I have to show off the whole level, and quite frankly,
Exactly.
the butt-clenching nightmare that is the
Whoa!
fucking this section. And also, the Twilight version of this level, unless I'm mistaken, has the cannon on all 3 sections.
Oh, buddy.
Like, I might be mistaken on that, but I feel like it does have the cannon shots on all 3 segments.
Yeah, like the first one, that's not a big deal. The second one, that's a very big deal.
Yeah. Alright, don't kill me.
Come on, bro!
Yeah, it's like fire arrows, and we've got 12s with bombs on them, thanks game.
Oh lord. Oh help.
Oh yeah, we're gonna eat a lot of arrows. There's a lot less up in the front here, and I gotta go and get that cannonball. Remember the cannonball? Remember I mentioned the
you
cannonball?
decided you weren't going to get?
Oh, I wasn't gonna get from the easy way to get it. And I'm like, oh shit, that's through.
I really
Okay, let me
appreciate how
just-
you keep running
There it
through
is.
frickin'. There it is. You keep running through frickin' fire because it cuts a few frames off your time.
Gotta go
Speed running
fast.
tricks.
Oh shit, where am I gonna go? Where am I gonna
Go
go?
go 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 go! No!
This is stopping me from getting killed by the, This is stopping me from getting killed by the cannonball, though, so it's all good. Because it's firing to where I was a few seconds before, so it's like... just... At this point, I was in, like, heavy stages of, fuck it.
Whoa!
I love that this is just scaring the shit out of you.
Dude, you're Oh, dude. This is like the Torg
okay.
zone, only you're on the wrong side of the explosions.
Let's get our ninjutsu to not die back up there again. Okay, we made it.
Yeah. Open fire! Okay. That is the least attentive retainer on the planet.
Well, I mean, it's not like you expected people to be able to get through that to get to there.
You would think, never mind. You know what? I shouldn't criticize. We shot the cannon!
Yeah, we got it. We made it. There is no more cannon trying to kill us. So the first half of the level is done. Well, it's actually more
Big
like the
sigh of
first
relief.
2/3 of the level is done. Because the next area is a little smaller.
I was like, I know for a fact I saw another samurai around here. Where the hell did that guy go?
Let's unlock that shortcut. Boop. There we go. Oh dear, yeah, I do so love this.
Big
At this
sigh
point,
of
at this point in
relief.
history, Ieyasu was not actually the shogun anymore either. It's probably worth noting he had stepped down for his son, but he was still essentially the power behind the throne. Like, people respected him enough that he could basically just like nod at a couple of guys behind the scenes and they'd do what he wanted. So
Right.
he was leading this attack in the name of the shogun, his son. But it was really just to keep his power base going. That's why you saw him wearing a much more subdued headdress. He's like, as his retired shogun hat, basically. And his son
He's
would go on to do the same
Shogun
thing.
Emeritus.
Yeah.
Because we absolutely need to splice both Japanese and Latin here.
Well, it's funny, because there are loads and loads of examples of this happening throughout history. I'm pretty sure one of the iterations of the Han Dynasty in China, the one that is around the time of the story of the water margin, their emperor, in fact the emperor that is depicted in the story of the water margin, or the marsh bandits as some otherwise known, it was he also did a similar thing. He stood down, but still basically gave himself a position which is like, I'm like the emperor that was before, so I'm still super tough. And then when like a rival nation conquered his shit, they kept him round as a joke.
I don't remember water margin quite so much,
I
but
love the
like
water margin.
that was indeed very common, particularly in the East, where it was less common to have like codified inheritance laws, because basically that sort of arrangement let somebody rule until they died while providing an absolutely bulletproof line of succession. Like England, one of the reasons England was always so volatile was because they didn't really sign on to like established lines of inheritance until relatively late in history. So the thing that would happen is that the heir apparent would be given a specific ducal title, and I forget which one it was. I think it might have been the Duke of Westminster or something like that. But don't quote me on that. But that was supposed to be the heir apparent to rise to the throne after the king or queen died. But it was tradition, it wasn't law. So there were still like loads of succession crises every time somebody was powerful enough to mess with the Duke and the heir apparent, and had a legitimate claim to the throne. So how do you get around that? You literally make somebody the emperor already. You literally make somebody the king already.
Yeah.
It's still just like you're basically king or emperor in training until I die. All right.
Yeah, and hey, it worked. It kept the Tokugawa going for about 250 years until everyone just finally got sick of their shit. 250 years though, that's pretty good in terms of peace.
It's incredibly good in terms of feudal arrangements as well. Like the thing that is easy to forget sometimes about feudal arrangements is that the reason they changed so often was because while a worthy leader would frequently come up out of the ashes of war or whatever, and frequently they would have a reasonably cool son or daughter for the first heir. The grandchildren, the great-grandchildren, and so on and so forth ended up more often than not being these sorts of people who had never struggled for anything. They were born into wealth. They were educated in the finest way, and they just never struggled for anything. It's very, very easy to fundamentally. It's very easy to lose touch with the nuts and bolts of how a country works in those sorts of ways. It's one of the primary influences behind why a lot of Enlightenment thinkers, like John Locke included, basically asserted that the only way to make sure that leaders didn't start to smell would be to change regimes often. Because this was basically it. Like regimes got decadent. 250 years is unusually long for a number of reasons. And the Tokugawa had a lot of good habits with regard to, even when they had been in power for 100 years, a lot of their heirs and heir apparents were told, go be merchants for fucking 5 years or whatever. Like, they were just told, go find a job, because that would force them to go. Oh, here it goes. Oh no, okay. For a minute there, I thought he was coming after you. But yeah, a lot of them were told to go find a job, and weirdly enough, like 5 years isn't going to change you completely and make you a good person, but it is going to teach you that the common people are not all disposable pawns, because you're going to come away with a couple of friends among the common people.
Shifting gears a little, did you notice the new enemy type?
I did, but I was talking
Ninja
too much. Go
dogs.
ahead. Huh?
Ninja dogs.
Ninja dogs.
They're wearing little ninja harnesses with knives and stuff, and they throw them at you, and they do cartwheels through the sky, and you murder
So
them, and
fucking
everybody
good. Like,
hates
they
that.
were adorable.
And you can't pet them.
You can't pet them?
No, you can't. Look, see, look. He ain't coming for pets. He coming for
God
look.
bless
Look at
him.
him. He's
worst.
throwing shit at us.
0 out of 10 game. I'm leaving this Let's Play.
Yep, you know how he is about dogs.
Must pet doggo. Must pet doggo.
God, I am putting on a bullet dodging clinic right now. It's too bad I won't be able to do that in the next episode. Yes, we got all these ninja out here. They're attacking. They're using the mist and the ruins here to attack the Tokugawa forces. They're selling out because on more than one occasion the Sanada Maru's defenders would sally out and beat the shit out of the siege. It's really quite effective. Like, Sanada Yukimura was a very honorable man, but Jesus, like, he fought rough. He fought hard. Don't worry. We'll be talking plenty about that man and the Sanada clan as time goes on. Because if there's one person I have a big man crush for, almost as large as I do for Date Masamune, it's fucking Sanada Yukimura. He is just another big man of Japanese history.
Big badass.
He's not even like an overlord or anything like that, Like we talked about, he's historically the loser. And look, I got 2 down steps off. This was like a revelation for me. I was like, wait, what? I actually did that? Wow, okay. So apparently there's like a tiny window when they're down. If you pull it off fast enough, you can pull off a second one while they're standing up.
It's a frame perfect trick.
Yeah. Doesn't work all the time, but when it works, damn, you
get this
you
man to
definitely
GDC. He's pulling off frame perfect tricks.
It's the power. Got lots of Tokagushi Shinobi apparel. Yeah, where do these Sanada soldiers come from? Yeah, there's a hidden tunnel around here somewhere, and we were just looking straight at it. But inside the entrance to this tunnel is our first boss, and we have talked about a lot of history's great ninjas. We're now going to meet the greatest ninja that never existed.
Just buffing up. I'm sure this is fine.
Tosaru. この闇は忍びの領分よ。
Sarutobi Sasuke, one of the 10
Oh,
braves of
man.
Sanada Yukimura. Arguably one of the most famous non-Hanzo Hattori ninjas in ninja folklore. He
Fucking
is
fantastic.
He is armed not just with a regular pair of tonfa. Oh no, those tonfa are guns.
Whoa! Seriously? Holy crap, that's the coolest thing I've seen in a month! Oh fuck!
Just
He
you
kicked
wait
him
and
in the
see.
face.
I will come within a hair's breadth of getting my face shot off in a moment.
Come on, you got him! Oh!
And as the fight goes on, he starts throwing more cool variations of stuff at you. It's a similar to last time. There he goes.
Oh, holy shit!
Did I mention you can get those tonfa and use them?
I love everything about that!
Sarutobi Sasuke is he's just fantastic. And yes, long after Sanada Yukimura perished, a lot of stories came
Holy
out
dick.
about the various heroes that fought alongside him, and chief amongst those was Sarutobi Sasuke. And we will talk about and meet the rest of the Braves in a future episode.
Fucking
Because they're all here.
fantastic.
The gang's all here.
Oh, man.
And he escaped.
Of course he does. Fucking smoke bomb. Fucking smoke bomb. Oh my god, I love it. I
You
love
can't
it
have a
so
story
much.
about Yukimura without Sasuke. Even if he never existed, Sasuke is just too important.
Doesn't matter. Like, the story is too good. The story, like, it's important to know whether or not it's true. But oh my god, a good story is like its own reward. It totally is. A good
Yep.
story is its own reward.
Yep. I love the character. All these depictions and all the different variations, all the ways the story is told about this man who never existed are fantastic. And we'll talk a bit more about those sorts of things next time. I've been the Last Robokai.
And I have been Cool Guy.
We've got a duel to go make.
Doodle.